Woo, the Golden Stallion, the man of tomorrow, Savzu, the Rated R Radio Star, here with you again. And, you know, we got for patrons only. We're going to get into a little hardware review. I get to do this now and again. Not the most common thing I get to do. I wish I got to do it more. But, you know, a lot of people don't realize that, it used to be a thing just 10 years ago, maybe even a little less. It used to be a thing that companies, you know, hardware companies, tech companies, would send out review units of whatever hardware that they made, be it a laptop, be it a tablet, a phone, whatever. And they would give them away and let the reviewer, which is usually a journalist of some type, actually keep it. You know, like they could have it. And obviously part of that was to get the journalist into their good graces. And these units would be written off as, you know, I mean, it's a loss leader in a way, right? That does not happen anymore. And in fact, even if you do, first off, review units are, I mean, they're not unheard of, but they're rare. And even if you do get one, usually there's a time stamp effectively on it and you have to send it back, which I think is kind of weird that you have to send it back. Like after somebody's used it for a while, you know, and if they've really put it through its paces, like, don't you not want it back? I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but maybe they just go through a refurb process and they put it back out there in the refurb stock, I guess. I don't know exactly how that works anymore. I know how it used to work because I used to deal with the companies themselves directly, you know, in various tech jobs that I had. But regardless, a lot of people don't realize that that's not a thing anymore. And in fact, I mean, I learned it the hard way, or kind of the hard way, because I tried to do that with Sovereign Tech and reach out to companies and say, hey, I'll review your kit on my show if you send me one, you know, for free. And I mean, just no one, you know, the few people that actually would respond to me are like, hey, you know, no one does this anymore. At least not really. And if we are going to do it, it's got to go out to a venue that gets pretty much into at least the hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of readers or, you know, outreach demographic in general. So I don't get to do hardware reviews too often unless I end up picking up some of the hardware myself. And, or if you, the patrons, actually frequent my wishlist.zog.ninja, and there's often stuff in there that, that I want to review and try out. And not just review and try out, but maybe tell you how you can really use it. Because, you're going to hear this month, you'll have also heard, or you will hear, the Chromebook review that I do for the Acer Chromebook 15. And in that, I really wanted to get my hands on a Chromebook because I keep hearing how it can do all these incredible things, but then there's little things within that exist either part of my workflow or my play flow. but you know, can I do those? And you can't find an answer on the fucking internet. I don't know if it's because people are stupid or what, or the people, maybe they're like me where, okay, yeah, they want to do that stuff, but they kind of keep it to themselves. And so, but I want to be able to tell you because I think you might find it useful to do so. So sometimes it's important, I think, for me to get my hands on this stuff to be able to talk about it. But anyway, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I'll use it forever, but certainly I make use of everything that I get my hands on. But yeah, we got a few hardware reviews that are going to actually be coming up. Some of them might be part of the Sovereign Tech Prime episodes because I have the Commodore 64 Mini coming this month. I have the Neo Geo Mini coming this month. And there are some other pieces of kit coming my way, I think, this month where we'll end up doing reviews. Maybe those will be Patreon only. Maybe they'll end up being part of Sovereign Tech Prime, say for Game Talk, at least the ones that are actually game consoles. We'll see how that shapes up. So anyway, this one that I have is not going to take a terrible amount of time. This is going to be a shorter one. This is not the Chromebook that I'm going to be reviewing here. But this is actually a pair of headphones, which I originally, the predecessor to this very new model. And I mean, these headphones are not even, I don't even know if they've been out for, I don't know, a couple months. I doubt they've been out for that. This is the successor to what was really my pick. I got asked on a Patreon Wednesday Q&A, what are your favorite pair of Bluetooth headphones, or what are your favorite pair of headphones? And at the time, my answer was the original Plantronics Backbeat I think is the 1000 is the number, or is the model number. These are the successors to that. So what I have here are the Plantronics Backbeat Fit 2100. And I have them in the color gray. They have 3 different color options. There's a black option where they have like red tips to them, and then there's like a red one. But then the gray is the closest to being all black. So of course that's what interested me. Cosmetically, aesthetically, nothing wrong with them. They look fine. They feel a little harder than, well, anyway, I should describe more about what the headphones are as compared to, necessarily their look. Well, I mean, their look is important, but these are wraparound, and they are, they're not like a full-on earbud where it goes into your ear and you hear nothing. It's more where it kind of side channels into your ear, but it's still open ear so that you can hear your surroundings. And they know, fortunately, Plantronics realizes that this is a selling point. And I'm guessing that's why they did a refresh of the 2000 series or the 1000 series or whatever of the Backbeat Fit series. And so this looks like a headband, but it goes around the back of your head. And it has 2 kind of larger buds that end up in your ear. Again, they're not full in-ear earbuds. That effectively have the controls on them. And really all the controls it just looks like a couple of panels, or it looks like a couple little circles that look like those old, like the Oakley sunglasses from the 90s where they have kind of that holographic, or, multicolor look to them. And and there's a little lettering of PLT. There's a link in the show notes for you to look at them. If you want to have a real visualization of what they are. And they have ear hooks, like it's an ear hook where it kind of goes over the ear, and so on. So that's the look of them. Let's start talking about the headphones themselves, especially in comparison to the original Backbeat Fit, which look very similar. But for some reason, there's problems here. So first off, these feel a lot stiffer. Now, I've been wearing them I wear headphones kind of all the time in some form or fashion, because I'm usually always like turning a podcast on or off, or an audiobook, especially an audiobook, or, just jamming out some metal. And these never seemed to unstiffen. Okay. They feel very, very stiff, as to where the original Backbeat Fit, the previous model, felt very soft right from the beginning and just super comfortable. I mean, I never, ever wanted to take them off. Like, there was no need. It felt like a glove, or kind of going into my ear and around the back of my head. It felt great. Even though these are a little tighter around the back of the head, which is okay. Like with the previous Backbeat Fit, there's a little too much line kind of going back, or like the loop at the back was a little too large, even for me. And I have a big head. I mean, like I have a big head. Okay. I have a hard time finding hats, seriously. But these are a little tighter, and they felt good. It felt like snug. But the problem is, and this is the initial issue and why I don't think I'm going to continue to put up with them, is that they never unstiffen. It always hurts my ears, what's in my ears, and it never feels good. As to where the original Backbeat Fits had a very, very nice, like, soft feel to them, and you could almost forget that you're wearing them, if you weren't losing some sound going into your ear, just because, your ears have the headphones going into them, even though they're not in-ear earbuds. These just don't feel comfortable. Not really. Not around the ear. They feel a little too tight. And like I said, they never really soften up. I think that they made a mistake in making these a little too stiff, and you can feel it. Like when you touch the band that does the wraparound, it feels, especially like what goes around the ear, which is where I think it matters. It feels really, really stiff. Like, I think they put a lot of tech into that, and it could not bend like the original Backbeat Fits do. Now about that tech. So I guess I should get into like what's good about them initially before we get into bad, but honestly, it's a lot of bad. But the sound is fine. I think it sounds just as rich as the Backbeat Fit, the original Backbeat Fits. The 2100 sounds just as good. as far as like the music and audiobooks and everything goes. There's no, I don't have any complaints about the sound. Now, I mean, granted, these are smaller headphones. These aren't like my Project Rock headphones, that are, stupid $250 or whatever. And, they have this really deep bass and everything. I mean, these aren't that. They can't be that, but that's okay. They still have a very rich sound. Because understand, when I first bought my first pair of Backbeat Fits, the original model, I was upgrading from, my Creative Arvana Airs. And in fact, I'm probably going to trade these back in, the Backbeat 2100s here, and just end up getting, because now they don't make them anymore, so you have to get either refurbs or like just some kind of back stock, and that ends up becoming expensive. But I'm just going to get another pair of Creative Arvana Airs. It's actually what I use for my studio monitors. It's what I'm wearing when I'm doing the live Hangout Q&As. I love them, but admittedly, those are not even remotely in-ear, clip-on headphones, and they're wired as well, even though there's solutions to that, because you can get little Bluetooth dongles that you can connect to wired headsets, that'll have a 1/8 jack. But I want to keep talking about these. And look, maybe if you have smaller ears, maybe the pain isn't a problem. So like maybe these will work for you, but there's other parts of these that I don't like. Anyway, so I was coming off of real, earbuds that aren't in ear, and they didn't have a lot of bass. So the Backbeat Fit series has been a dramatic update to that. And understand that when we're talking about Bluetooth headsets, Bluetooth, because it's a data stream, more so than it is like a straight, auxiliary line, okay, you can kind of cheat the sound. You can make a pair of Bluetooth headphones sound a lot better than the actual, shall we say, not woofers, but the actual, speakers inside of the headphones themselves are. Like, I mean, you can really make them sound a lot. I mean, you can lie pretty good with Bluetooth effectively with sound. So anyway, like that sound, I don't have a problem with it. I think the sound quality is great. Here's one of the first oddities about this though. Now, granted, the other advantage of Bluetooth headphones is that you can do firmware updates, right? Like you can update the abilities of headphones over time. Now, the original Backbeat Fit, that was a thing that they did. And where it got to the point where like the headphones could say all kinds of things to you, and it could very explicitly state just how long the battery life was. As soon as you turned it on, it would tell you, etc. I mean, I thought that was really slick. I know they originally couldn't do that, but later on they could. And this was a critique that I had of the Project Rock headphones, which are very high end, is about as high end as you can get as far as headphones go. Was that like, you're paying a crazy amount of money for these things, and they can't tell you how long the battery life is. They can't even say the word connected. They can't say anything like that. Well, the new models of the Backbeat Fit, the 2100 here that I'm reviewing, they can talk to you. But the weird thing is that the voice, it's the same voice from the original Backbeat Fits, but it sounds like it's coming through, an old telephone. Like, and all that it says, it'll say connected. I don't even think it says not connected. It'll say connected, and it'll say power on, power off, and then it'll tell you the battery level. But what it doesn't do, which I loved about the original Backbeat Fits, is the original Backbeat Fits would give you an hour time frame. Like, okay, you have, battery life 2 hours, battery life 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever. This one just says battery high, battery low, and that's all. Like, I mean, it feels like a downgrade. It feels like a real downgrade. To say nothing of the fact that these actually get less battery life. It's only an hour difference. The original Backbeat Fits could get 8 hours. This can get 7 hours. And I'm still baffled as to why, because they're about the same size, and there's no appreciable difference between the two. So I don't know why one gets less hours than the other. But anyway, yeah, it won't tell you the actual battery level. Now, the 2100s here that I'm reviewing, they have they come with an adjacent app, and it's just called the Backbeat app by Plantronics. Now, the app itself can actually give you a lot of info that, like the info I was just telling you that the original Backbeat Fits could just say through the headphones. Okay. The app can tell you how much, like specifically how much battery life you have, as well as it can change what the controls do on the 2100. Okay. And this is, so there's an overall point here. The original Backbeat Fits were far more independent as far as headphones go. And this is a good thing, because you're not always going to connect a pair of Bluetooth headphones to a smartphone that has a fucking app that comes with it, right? Where you can do all this like little stuff, and you can program it or whatever. You know, sometimes I connect my Backbeat Fits to my Kindle Oasis, which there's a problem involved with that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But sometimes I'll connect it to that, and if you're connecting to that, you know, that you can't add an app to a Kindle Oasis. So you need as much control as possible built into the headphones themselves. Now, like I said, there's no difference in size, really, between the 2100 and the previous generation of the Backbeat Fit. But there is an extreme difference in the amount of controls available on the two different headsets. The 2100, the newer one, which I'm reviewing, it actually, like, the left ear is a capacitive button. Okay, it's touch, or I don't know if it's capacitive, but it's touch sensitive anyway. And so you can like long tap on it to make the volume go down, or you can just tap quickly on it to make the volume go up. And it's very, very touch and go, no pun intended, if it'll even do that well. As to where the original Backbeats had like a full-on little button that could control volume and so on. And also all you have is one button on the right ear that you push in to turn it on or to turn it off, or you do a long hold, obviously, to pair it. And you can tap that also to pause if you want to pause the audio. And I imagine, you know, maybe that now you can, in the Backbeat app that I mentioned, you can change whether this controls more of like if it controls Google Assistant or if it controls Siri and so on. But, you know, you can change all that. Myself, I don't use, you know, virtual assistants. So, you know, I just wanted the volume controls and whatever else. But the funny thing is that you didn't need to configure anything with the original Backbeat Fits. They had all of the little buttons built right into a package, a headset package, no bigger than the new 2100s. So I think that that's a loss. You know, it feels like overall where, you know, like in the back with the VCRs, you know, the VCR days, where, you know, over time, more and more buttons went to the remote control, and you didn't have them on the physical header or on the head device. You know, you didn't have them on the physical VCR. And that annoys me. I don't like losing controls, you know, and especially, I mean, having it on a remote is one thing. A whole other fucking thing to, you know, to lose the controls to an app that may not work someday, or, you know, may not work someday or whatever else. I mean, this is not a good trade-off, in my opinion. So that's another mark against the 2100, the newer headset, is that reliance upon using the app, and even connecting to the app is really fickle. And I've done it on multiple devices, and that is also very touch and go. So I'm not pleased about that at all. Now, again, a firmware update could fix a lot of this. But it's just weird, you know, why there wasn't any reason. The main reason that I wanted these, okay, first off, is that my original Backbeat Fits are starting to get kind of staticky. I mean, they're starting to go, which that happens. Okay. Not a huge deal. You know, I expect that. And I mean, it's amazing the shit that I've put those things through. And I mean, I have put them through a ton of shit. You know, it's amazing that they still work as well as they do. I mean, the main reason that I did this, there wasn't that like dramatic of a feature difference. Again, the sound is just as good. They're both pretty much sweat-proof / waterproof, more or less. You know, there's the only dramatic difference between the two, the only advantage really that the 2100 series has over its predecessor, is that it's Bluetooth 4.2 instead of Bluetooth 3.0. And the reason that I cared about that, and the reason that I jumped on the 2100 as soon as they announced them, is that my Kindle Oasis actually, if you are using headphones that are older than Bluetooth 4.0, if you're using anything older than that, the audio skips. And it's true across the board for any headset that's older, or, you know, that uses Bluetooth 3.0 and down. And that's a real problem for me. So, I mean, like, it's a wildly noticeable skip. It's a real issue. Now, granted, the Kindle Oasis could get repaired to where that's not a problem. And it's not a problem with any other device. The Kindle Oasis is the only one where that becomes any kind of issue, probably because to keep the exceptional battery life that the Kindle line is known for, the e-readers themselves, not the tablets, but the e-readers are known for, they probably had to use some pretty serious, low energy Bluetooth to make that work. And if you're not connected to that, if you're not using that kind of connection, there's a problem. And I think that's what was going on. So, and I tested this with the 2100, the newer model, connected to my Kindle Oasis. That problem was gone. There was no more skipping, nothing of the sort. And so that's really what I wanted here is and it's not like I wanted Bluetooth LE, it's not like I wanted Bluetooth 4.2 because because of battery life. These actually have the new model, the 2100s actually have less battery life than the older model by an hour. It's not that. It was just that having that not having that connectivity issue and having those skips. But bottom line, outside of having Bluetooth 4.2, this is an inferior model. In every way. It's not as comfortable. It might be a little more waterproof, but that's never really been an issue. I'm not going to go swimming with these things. There's that. The sound isn't necessarily any better. In fact, in some ways it's worse. Like the voice that plays through the headset to tell you what's going on. Like I said, it sounds staticky. It sounds like it's coming. These are brand new. This isn't a refurb or anything. It sounds like it's coming out of an old telephone. Like I said, all kinds of, there's really nothing superior about these. And that's shocking to me. And I'm half tempted. Really what I'm going to do is go back to my Arvana Airs because I'm never going to buy another phone. Part of what got me into buying Bluetooth headphones in the first place, yeah, it's nice when you're at the gym that there isn't a wire that you have to worry about. Sure, there's an advantage to that. But I have my Project Rocks for that kind of situation anyway that I like to use. But part of the reason that that I wanted these in the first place is that the phone I was using at the time, that being the Echo Pro 3, with Lineage OS, didn't have a 1/8 jack built into it. And a lot of phones don't have that, but then also a lot of phones do have it. Like I recently talked about the Nokia 661 as being like the best phone out there. It has a 1/8 jack. Fucking right. Okay. But that's part of the reason I got into Bluetooth headphones in the first place. Otherwise, I'd still be wearing my Arvana Airs because those might be just the greatest headphones ever. They're just, earbuds that don't go into your ear and they have a nice metal clip around them to hold them into your ear. But otherwise, I think they're the greatest goddamn headphones ever made. So, yeah, the Backbeat Fit 2100, not good, not good at all. I'm really, the other problem with the Arvana Airs is they don't have a built-in microphone, which these do have a built-in microphone, by the way. And that I have done calls with them and it works very well. But again, it's no appreciable difference, or it's not an improvement in any way over the original Backbeat Fits. Again, the only advantage the 2100 has is that it's using Bluetooth 4.2, and it's rare the device that's any kind of issue for. Okay, it's super rare that's an issue for any device. It has less buttons. You have less control. It has to connect through a stupid app, and just very uncomfortable for me. And I'll admit, like I said, if you have a smaller head, the comfort thing might not be a problem, and then these might work out well for you. These might do well for you if you don't have an issue with that comfort. But because, and again, I've broken it. Like I've taken the time to break them in. Like if it takes more than a month. And I'm wearing them like for hours upon hours a day, to break something in, like that's not good. You should not have to put up with that whatsoever. And the original Backbeat Fits were comfortable pretty much out of the box. Inside of a day or two, maybe, if there was any kind of if my ears weren't used to it, they got used to it fast. And they are just so comfortable. They're like, old leather. It's really, really amazing. And it's so disappointing to see that these just don't live up to that at all. And again, just a completely inferior, other than the Bluetooth, completely inferior design, in my opinion. So, and it sucks. I think what I'll do is, to listen to stuff on my Kindle Oasis, if I don't have my Project Rock headphones out, I guess I'll just get another one of those, Bluetooth dongles that can connect that'll connect to the Oasis, but will go through my creative Arvana Airs. Because I don't like to, I mean, the Project Rock headphones are a special case. I generally don't like huge headphones. I don't like big cans, as far as headphones go on my head. Not a fan of that. I like things to be very discreet and for you to like barely know that they're even there. And, that's the thing too. Like these stick out. I feel like they stick out more than the previous model too. Yeah, just fucking inferior. So anyway, that's it. That's the review for the Plantronics Backbeat Fit 2100 wireless headphones. Again, it's a shame because there's so few of these types of headphones, especially in Bluetooth. But really across the board, whether it's wired, through an auxiliary, through a 1/8 jack, or whether it's or whether it's in Bluetooth, there are so few models that aren't in ear or that aren't like over the ear, big pair of over the ear cans that deliver a good sound, certainly. But I mean, they're just rare overall, and I'm just not comfortable with like not hearing my surroundings. Like I'm really not okay with that. Maybe that's, my old military training or something. I don't know. But I just really don't feel comfortable at all when I'm not hearing what's going on around me. So I like these kinds of headphones, but they're practically impossible to find. And it just sucks that the update to that, and again, maybe the how well they don't fit on my head is a unique problem. Maybe that's just a problem that I have. But also I still think that there's objective inferiorities about it. Like I said, the lack of buttons, not that the sound quality is bad, but the assistant isn't as advanced, or not the assistant, but the voice, the controller isn't as advanced in these as they were on the previous model. So yeah, just a disappointment. I don't recommend buying them unless you're like me and you have a Kindle Oasis and you need the connection to be Bluetooth 4.0 and up. I would buy the previous model Backbeat Fits. I really, really would. I would not waste my time with these. And granted, they probably don't make new versions of the old Backbeat Fits anymore. You're going to have to buy a refurb, but I can assure you that those refurbs last for years. So I would go that route personally. So anyway, that's it for this review. It wasn't meant to be a long one. How much can you say about headphones in the first place anyway? But more hardware reviews to come out throughout October, and then we'll see, maybe even November and December we'll have a few. It's like I said, it's rare that I get to do it, but I love it when I get to do it. I love talking hardware. Honestly, way more than I love talking software. I mean, by a long shot. We so rarely get new hardware that's even worth talking about these days. I've really enjoyed the whole retro console revival or movement right now, because that gives us hardware to talk about and to get excited about again, and hardware that isn't just some bullshit connect to the internet, whatever, kit. And I love that. So, all right. Anyway, that is your review again of the Plantronics Backbeat Fit 2100. Just get the old ones. And that'll be it for this episode. I will see all of you on the other side.